Travel has been a much discussed topic lately, especially how it has been impacting our environment. And while it's true that travel, especially air travel, is a huge component of climate change, I just can't get behind this belief that we need to stop traveling altogether and stop exploring. You see, I've had this opportunity to travel to over 50 countries in my 26 years of life, and it's taught me more than any school textbook or documentary on the TV ever could. We're at this point in life where I feel like everyone has this giant megaphone and they're just spewing out their beliefs constantly, and they're not really open to listening to other people's beliefs or see other people's point of views. And I think that's such a detrimental way to look at life, and it's so sad of us as a society to be living in this judgmental thought process and not really taking into other people's considerations, other people's ways of life, and being open to other new possibilities and ideas. And changing that is something that I think travel can play a huge part in. What I learned from traveling to all those countries is that even though our cultures may be vastly different, our hearts are all the same. We all have the same wants and needs and desires. And I think that us as a society really needs to reconnect to that these days. And that's something that travel can give us. So I believe that traveling now is more crucial than ever. And not to travel to be a tourist, but to really immerse yourself into that which we do not know. And I think traveling eco-friendly is becoming more aware. So I've come up with 3 ways that I believe we can still travel and enjoy every moment, but lower our carbon footprint and emissions along the way. The first one is to offset, and this may seem obvious, but I think that it's the best way that we can swing that pendulum back to a little bit more balance. Specifically by offsetting your flights. So if you're traveling by air, there are some really amazing sites like co2.myclimate.org and carbonemissions.com that you can calculate your carbon footprint while you're traveling and how much your air travel, or I think they might do like car travel and other things, can impact the environment, and then how much money you need to donate to kind of offset that. When you pay that offset of how much your CO2 is giving off, you are funding these organizations that focus on reforestation and on ways that we can lower our carbon footprint. It's not a solution, but it's a small way we can all do something to make a change. I simply calculate that price into my overall budget and then make sure that it's covered first. What's even more cool is that a lot of travel companies are now implementing it directly on their website. So when I was booking flights the other day for an upcoming trip, I had an option to just add in my carbon offset immediately, and they would donate to a reforestation program. And I think that's amazing, and it's so cool that they're getting behind this. The second way to curb your emissions when traveling is to eat locally. I know it sounds simple, but there are so many people I know that think of travel as really getting outside of your comfort zone, and it's really uncertainty. And so they want to find that comfort and that coziness back in what they know. So they'll eat at chain restaurants the entire time that they're traveling. And while those places do provide comfort with the fact that they have the same menu all around the world, if you think about it, they're actually importing so much food to get to where it needs to be. According to a UK website called Pollution Issues, whilst only 1% of food is transported by air, it accounts for 11% of carbon emissions. That's insane. And in the US, over 53% of our fruit is imported. One of my favorite things to do when traveling is to try and find a small hole in the wall and order something local. It's usually grown in the back garden or somewhere nearby. This way, you're respecting the local culture, but you're also greatly reducing your carbon emissions by not going to places that import their food. Think about it this way. You're already out of your comfort zone, so you might as well just give it a try. And you never know, your next favorite meal on the entire planet could be just around the corner. The third way to help lower your carbon emissions while traveling is to shop small. I know, hitting up Topshop and Zara and H&M are so fun when you're traveling. I know that only a few years ago, the US didn't really have a presence of these shops, and so I would literally bring an empty suitcase with me so that I could fill it up with clothes and things that I bought while I was traveling. Yeah. And then I'd usually decide that every one of my friends needs a souvenir. So I'd go to a souvenir shop and I'd buy these plastic tchotchke things that usually were made in China when I wasn't in China, and brought those back for my friends. Looking back now, I think that's completely ridiculous, but I do understand this desire that we have to shop when traveling. And I'm not saying to not do it. I'm just saying to change your mindset around it, change your thought process and how you view shopping while you're traveling. Now, instead of searching for high streets filled with department stores, look for those little small lesser known areas that are filled with boutiques and secondhand shops. When you're supporting local artists that pour their hearts into the pieces that they're making, you can feel really good about what you're bringing home, and your friends will probably thank you too. My favorite thing to bring my friends now is like a scarf that's been hand dyed, locally made, and I'll take it back and they absolutely love it. Shopping small is way more environmentally friendly and says a lot more about a country than a tchotchke little thing from a souvenir shop ever will. And there are my 3 main ways that I believe that we can greatly reduce our carbon footprint while traveling. While I understand that it's definitely not a solution by any means, I do think that it's a way that we can become more aware travelers and really try to focus on becoming mindful about how we travel. There are so many people that I know that are really closed off in fear from other countries and other places, and that breaks my heart because what you're missing out on is so much more than what you have to lose. I have friends from all over the world now, and while our cultures may be super different, we still meet up to talk about the same things and issues that we're struggling with. And I think that when we all agree that we're all really the same and that our hearts are in the same place, then we can lessen this whole me against you, my belief is better than your belief thing, and we can really come together and be a better society, a better humankind. So I've linked all the sources that I use down below if you want to check them out. And yeah, let me know if you do any of these already, or if you're looking to travel more this year and maybe you want to implement some of this. I'd love to have a discussion about that. So comment down below, give this a thumbs up if you liked it, and make sure to subscribe to this channel to support me so that I can keep making videos about mindful travel and intentional living. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with a new video. Bye!